2023. If you would stand with me, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please? Do you have our names?
I do not.
Okay, I will tell you who is
Yes,
here. That's okay. I'm Randy Gooden, Jerry Spindler,
Present.
John Merrill. John Merrill. Greg Hill.
Here.
And Laura, I'm going to say your last name wrong. Jaquin is online.
Jacqueline, yep, I'm here.
Thank you. So all of our members are present either physically or online. The first thing on the agenda is new business. And at this time, wait a minute, we're missing one thing. I apologize. I need approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Gentlemen, have you had it, and Laura, have you had a chance to look at the meeting minutes? Did you have any questions over anything?
No, I have no questions.
Gentlemen?
No questions.
All right, could I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
I'm going to take it from John as the motion and seconded by Jerry. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is new business, and we're talking the grant agreement between EDC and the Arts Council, which is the Arts on the Trail program, which we've done for quite some time. And Rob, I assume you're here to talk with us about this.
Actually, Landis is.
I am.
All right, if you would please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Mark Landis. I serve as the board president for the Greater Greenwood Arts Council. And we're coming before you to ask you for some funds and some assistance in making the sculptures on the display for Art on the Trailway happen for you. I don't have a button anymore to share that screen. IT, do you have that? Thank you. So these are some of the images of the sculptures that are currently on display on the Trailway, and we're excited to continue that. The Art on the Trailway program started over a decade ago as a partnership between Greater Greenwood Arts Council and the Parks Department, and it is a 2-year rotating gallery with 4 new pieces each rotation. And artists sign a loan agreement with the city in exchange for $3,000 stipend, where they received 70% of it installment up front and then 30% when they uninstall. Timeline typically is call out is started in January, and this button, yep. Call out starts in January. Submission deadline is June 23rd of 23 this year, and selection panel will meet in July, on July 11th, and artists will be notified July 14th, 2023. Artist agreement deadline is July 28th, and the artwork installation will occur in August between the 7th and 11th, weather permitting. The exhibit opens officially on August 14th, and the removal of sculptures will be in 2025 in August. The Art on the Trailway has evolved over the years to include one permanent piece that has been purchased, and archways have been installed to bookmark the gallery. Interpretive signage has been installed in front of each sculpture and is updated every rotation for current pieces. The last rotation of piece had such positive feedback that it is on its loan was extended for an additional 2 years, and in addition to 4 new sculptures. So we actually have 5 out there right now. The general location of the gallery can be seen here on this image. All the red dots show where everything is located along a piece of the Polk Hill Trail on Smith Valley Road between Emerson and Meridian. Sculptures are staggered throughout, and so that everybody can see them, and you can see them as you drive down the road along the road there. What we're asking for is $3,000 to partially fund the artist stipends for the 23-25 rotation. So that is our request at this time. And we appreciate your consideration in that today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions from the council?
Yeah, I had one. It's not about the current year. I'm just curious. I've always wondered, do any of the artists that have their work on display, do they mention or give remarks later about how that exposure has helped them?
I believe we've had a few.
We actually have one right now where the artist, a potential buyer, has reached out to us for the artist information. So I think that's.
So they want to buy the
success
piece,
for the gallery.
actual
Yes.
piece on display. Nice. I was always curious about that. So I just wanted to ask.
Another byproduct of this as well, it gives us an opportunity to see what the appetite is for this piece. If we get a 2-year kind of acclimation piece to see how it's being received. The city building has one of those pieces in front of it as you walk in, and of course Strider's permanent piece as well. So we do acquire some permanent artwork through this exhibit as well.
Nice. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask, is there any plans to expand this in the future? And what I mean by that is the entrances to the city where we have a lot of traffic coming in and out. Just
Yes, there's certainly opportunities there within maybe some current infrastructure that we could do with the city, or in some certain areas, and some gateway features that we can certainly expand some artwork in. So we're certainly not opposed to that. There's certainly some opportunity for some density within the gallery too that Mr. Landis was referring to that we can expand on.
Yeah, just as a general comment, I was going to ask the same question. I think it shows well for the community. Unfortunately, I'm not running much anymore, but I used to run the trail a lot. It's a wonderful piece. It has a nice feel for it. I would encourage that to the extent that it's economically feasible, we would look at some other opportunities to expand that. I think what's already been done is wonderful, but I think there's an opportunity to do a bit more over time.
Yeah, that land you were showing it on, is the city on that? Is that
Yes,
the actual trail?
Polk Hill Trail.
It's within a right of way.
Smith Valley.
Road, yeah,
Right.
sorry, blank. It's just along that trail there. So it's got good vehicular scale to it. It's also got good vehicular scale. So it actually meets or checks the boxes on 2 user groups in that area.
Very good.
Greg, anything? Laura, any comments or questions?
No, I drive by it often on the way to 148 Wellness, where Paul and I work out. I think it's really nice, visually appealing. I agree with the comments about it'd be great to be able to potentially expand the footprint at some point.
Thank you. All right, I need a motion.
Is Drew gonna draw up?
We
I
already
have
have
it. You have it?
I believe, oh, maybe there wasn't a link to it from the agenda that was sent out, but it was drafted. I printed out a copy. Gentlemen,
You want to read
look at it real quick.
Pretty much the standard practice that we've done the last several times. Nothing has changed that I'm aware of.
Just the dates were updated
Yeah.
and time periods.
Workplace stuff.
Don, you want to see it?
No, I'll trust your review.
I move that we approve this $3,000 grant. Parks Board, is it just board? Parks Department.
Yes, to the department.
Gotcha.
I'll second.
I believe it's to the Greater Greenwood Arts Council.
That's all the artists.
Okay.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, can I have an aye, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's the only item that we had for new business, and the next item on the agenda is comments from the commissioners. And this, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about that we've had. If you read the meeting minutes from the last couple of meetings, we've talked about how do people get on our agendas. And it's almost like if you don't know somebody inside the city, you don't really know how to get on our EDC agenda. So what I'm proposing, we have a hyperlink currently on the EDC page. All it does is take you to another page that says, this is how we do business in Greenwood. It doesn't tell you anything about how you get on our agendas. So I would like that hyperlink changed, and of course this will all be drafted legally. Drew helps draft everything to where it would open an email template. And we're asking for some simple things like who's to be heard, who's going to be the representative. If it's a business name, contact information, the subject, and what date they would like to be heard. Very simple. And that form, that email form, and this can be done, we do this at business every day. That email form would then turn around once it's submitted, go to a short distribution list, and I'm proposing that it's the secretary and probably the manager of that group, as well as the president. It goes to them. There's review before the agenda is drafted. Communications will go through the secretary as far as back to the person to be seen. If there are questions about, what they need to bring, what they want to be heard about, or if this is even the right commission that they should stand before. We get everything answered before they come to us via those email communications. That's number one. So you've heard that. Is there any questions or anything that I need? Go ahead, Tom.
Well, just a comment that I would also add in that email somehow, to ask how they see it fitting our mission. So they'll have to have, an understanding of what our mission is, but that would be the only other thing I would add.
And we can ask that that be put at the top of the email template. This is the purpose of the EDC.
Yeah.
Make sure you fit within these guidelines. But again, if they submit it, we're going to use the secretary to work with the president and get the questions answered, get everything clarified.
Understood.
And again, if they don't belong with us, that's fine.
Right.
We have the resources through the secretary and the rest of the city to get them before the RDC, the common council, whoever it may be, and stop some of this. Well, how do we get before you?
Right.
Laura, any questions or comments?
No, I think that makes sense. I do like the idea of putting our mission at the top. That'll probably help kind of weed out maybe anything that shouldn't come, before this commission. So I think that's a good addition.
Thank you. Greg, anything?
No, sounds good to me.
I just know you and I kind of researched this for the last several months, and we did find there was an EDC resolution a few years ago for the mini grow program for the signage on the downtown buildings. And there is a link that opens an email, goes to Kevin Steinmetz. So I tested that, Kevin got it. And that worked fine. That was the request grants for just that one program.
Okay.
So we don't have a general one on there for the EDC. And that link wasn't under the EDC anywhere. So it didn't look like it was in any way connected. So
that
would be
probably
need to be more logical.
Probably needs to be fixed and redirected to, again, the secretary. Thank you. Appreciate it. And yes, we did research. And just for everyone's knowledge, where this comes from is, again, our meetings where no one's been able to tell us how they get on the agenda. I reached out to Mike Campbell, who's the president of the Common Council, and I asked him how this is done with the Common Council. And this is very similar to their process, which is by state statute. Personally, I think it's good business if we follow the same process. It makes us look a little more professional and polished, and not like we don't know our own processes. Okay.
And the email we got from Greenwood Legal that told us the way we were doing it was not really.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go out.
Yeah, we weren't going about it the right way, so we had to question how should we do it. Trying to get that answer.
Do I need a motion on this?
I'll write up a formal proposal to send out to you guys, which you could approve at the next meeting. So it's in our writing, and then probably need to speak with IT about.
This email.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an IT issue, not a,
Yeah.
not want a process in place, but they're the ones who are actually, you have to build that process to make sure it's distributed correctly. So I took a couple notes, but you just tell me exactly what you want, or send that up in a follow-up email to me.
Okay.
And I can write up a resolution for you guys to approve for your procedure of adding things to your docket or your agenda process for that. The 72 hours notice you discussed.
Yeah,
Or
and that's
submit it 72 hours before the actual meeting is the deadline. And then,
yeah, and that's part two, and that is, and I'm sure you're all seeing this. We don't see the agendas until they actually go to the public, because we have that 48 hours before it goes to the public. So even the president has not been seeing the agendas. So we get kind of, I don't want to say blindsided or surprised, but we really don't know what's happening till the public knows. So what I'm proposing is that we tack a date on before that. So 72 hours before the meeting. And I didn't say the Monday before the meeting because I never know if these things will ever move in the future. So 72 hours before the meeting, the agenda has to come from the secretary to the president for approval before it's published at 48 hours to the general public. And again, it's to try and make us look more professional and polished instead of showing up, or just before we get to the meetings, we find out who may be on the agenda.
Yeah.
Questions about any of that?
So then we would still get it 48 hours in advance of the meeting, correct?
You would. And the reason for the 72, Laura, is if there's something on there that just showed up,
Right.
then the president has that 24-hour period before it goes to the public to say, yes, no, we don't know anything about this, strike it from the agenda.
Right.
No, we don't get surprised.
Okay. Makes sense.
Makes sense to me as well. We could change.
Okay, do you need a motion on that, or can I add all of it to the same thing?
we can decide it's the same thing.
Okay.
The motion would be for the next meeting when I have the formal proposal written up.
Understood.
It can be on the agenda, then you can make a motion on it at that time, or tell me to make different changes.
Certainly.
Or when I'll email it out, see if it's everybody's liking, maybe before then do this, that, or the other.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
A couple more administrative things that have kind of come up as questions. One is the production of our future meeting dates. Do you all have that in an email as far as telling you when they are? And do we have
Well, it's
a little
actually on
formal
the website.
calendar? It's on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we have to look, 3 or 4 months out on that calendar. I don't know that it used to be that I thought when Don was on here, we had a document. It was just published once we approved those dates. And we had. You recall, Jerry?
I know we discussed it, agreed on what the dates were.
Yes,
What
but it was never pushed
generated.
out to us.
Not directly to us, but I saw, like you said, it was on the EDC website. So that's where I don't think it was sent directly to the 5 of us.
If that could be pushed to us, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
And the last thing that I have on my list, and I know I've got a lot on here today. We used to have the budget published every meeting. It would set before us, so we knew the funds that we had, what we still had left to spend in the year, and what was allocated to each, I don't want to say department, but there's different buckets on that we allocate money to. And I haven't seen one of those in quite a while. And I'm just asking if they could be presented to us at the EDC meetings. I will stop.
I thank you for your leadership. That's why you are the chair, the president. So those are all good and important things.
I just thought that it was time that whether we're appointed, whether we're elected, people have us as their representatives. And I just thought that we need to be a little bit more professional and polished in their representation.
I would agree with that.
Makes sense.
Laura, do you have any comments or questions? Again, or take comments from the commissioners.
I have no questions.
All right.
Nothing further from me.
Is that great?
Nothing for me.
Jerry?
Nope.
All right.
Other than Thank you for all of that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I need a motion for adjournment if I could. please.
Comments from the
Oh, comments. Yes, is there anyone from the audience that has anything further? My apologies.
I know that there's something in the chat box. Does anyone check that?
Oh.
There's someone from the public.
Can the IT, yep, there we go. My apologies. Thank you for noticing it.
It was before the meeting started.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just me.
All right. I just want to make sure it was not something, someone was attending online that wanted to, we needed to address. Thank you.
Anything further? I need a motion for adjournment, please.
So move.
second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Great.